Well, welcome everybody. Thanks for joining me today as we talk about Venice, the Adriatic, and
Carol,
Greece with Viking. This is a really great itinerary along the Adriatic
Carol,
coast, and I'm going to tell you some similarities here with another itinerary that Viking does that I highly recommend, as well as talk a little bit more about what Viking ocean ships are like, how they're different from other cruise lines, as well as specifics about this particular itinerary. So I
Mhm.
want to start with just talking about the amazing ships that Viking has. Starting in 2015, they have launched to number one from the very beginning of the time their ships hit the water. And Viking guests have really loved going from the river ships to the ocean ships and even to expedition and the Mississippi as well. Because Viking has a lot of places for you to go to, as you can see here. We travel to over 500 destinations across the world, including a world cruise. So there's lots of places to travel with Viking. Viking philosophy is not to be everything to everybody. So they do focus on adults interested in art, history, culture, travel, geography, and you have like-minded travelers with you as well. So you don't have to worry about a lot of kids or themed cruises or dance cruises or Elvis parties or all those things. It's very much a respectful way to encourage you to come on board with like-minded travelers and see the world. Viking does focus on the destination itself. So you're able to have a really good vacation, very informative, very educational, and have travelers with you who also enjoy the same thing. Viking really tries to include a lot in their cruise package. So, one thing I love about Viking is when you're on their website, you'll see the cruise fare and the airfare, and there really isn't that much extra you can even purchase. What I like to say is there's four extra things you can buy. Gratuities, that covers the captain to the laundry person who is maybe behind the scenes, and those are added at the end of your cruise. We have, specials a lot of times where you can have that included with the promotion. And as we'll talk about later, we actually do a extra 100 per person in shipboard credit, which can go toward that. Very inclusive product. The other thing you can purchase is optional shore excursions, but you will have an included shore excursion in every port of call. Then you can buy items from the gift shop or spa treatments if you choose to do that. So that's pretty much the only extra things you can purchase with Viking. And then, of course, being on board the ship is just a great experience. They really try to include a lot there too. Really great staff. They will always make you feel like you're part of their family. Viking has like a 96% return employee ratio, which is unheard of in the cruise industry. They have those contracts and they come back every year after year. So it really does give you a sense of family, both from the employee standpoint as well as people that really know what they're doing on board the ship. They also call this is the chairman's phrase, the thinking person's cruise, because this is designed to help you really explore and understand and learn a lot about the destination, not only before you go, but once you're on board. There are a lot of activities on board the ship as well. As we talked about, connecting with fellow travelers is really a big part of that, and they're all interested in the same things you are. Viking is the small ship experts, as I mentioned, from the river, ocean to expedition in Mississippi. They are all under 930 guests, all the way down to 190 or even less on the Nile is about 80 passengers. So it's a really great experience that makes you feel connected with each other. Because the ships are smaller, you're going to spend more time in port, and that gives you more time, of course, to see the destination. And we get those great berths, especially in the rivers. We own most of the docking locations in Europe, so it's really great to have that accessible area that you can get off the ship and be able to walk right into port. And of course, everything is made even more special with dining. And Viking does focus on the the foods and the cuisine of the destinations that we're sailing to. So you're always going to have your American classics, the shrimp, chicken, steak, Caesar salad, for instance. That's on the left side of the menu. But should you want to branch out and try something different, then Vikings chefs are going to have an amazing selection for you as well. Very easy to customize for your dietary restrictions as well. Viking is great about that. And many of our guests have just come back to say, I've never had a crew or maitre d' be so attentive to what my needs are and make sure that everything is easily worked into my needed diet. So a lot of dining alternatives at sea. So none of those have extra charges, which I love about that. The restaurant is going to be your main dining area with plenty of seating. You will make reservations for
Yeah.
that just to be able to get the times that you would like. But Manfredi's and the chef's table are the only ones that have advanced reservations. Seating is smaller there, so there isn't quite as much room, of course, for everybody. So you can make reservations for that in advance of travel. Or what I do usually is wait till I'm on board the ship. The World Cafe, Pool Grill, Winter Garden, and Mamson's are all just free to come and go during the hours that they're open. And the food is great there. I personally love the World Cafe and room service. They are my two favorites. So it's nice to have a special evening at Manfredi's, but those other options are excellent as well. Now, Viking likes to say yes, but they also say no to a lot of things. And these are things our guests really appreciate. Some of them I'll highlight. No casinos on board. So that's what kind of gives the sense of just calm and relaxed. Viking isn't trying to get the ship into international waters to open up those cash registers. So it really does help you feel relaxed. You're able to stay in port longer. As I said, no children under 18. The Viking chairman says that Viking guests like to travel with their grandchildren. They just don't like to travel with other people's grandchildren.
Hmm.
So, in light of that, it's a very elevated experience with adults who are just interested in art history, culture, travel, like you are. For instance, no photography sales to interrupt you getting off the ship or in the middle of your dinner. No art or perfume auctions, so you're not having to wonder, am I missing a special surprise, a special winning? I could get a bottle of perfume or an extra discount off some artwork. No sales that are high pressure in that respect. Of course, beer, wine, and soft drinks are always included with meals. If you want the premium wines or cocktails outside of that, you can purchase that by the glass or with the beverage package. I love that there's no charge for Wi-Fi. And if you've been on board the larger ships, the mass market cruises, that is an expensive package. I think last time I did it, it was like $500 for the week. And I was like, wow, I will really appreciate the Viking inclusions even more next time, which I thought I did already. Now, laundrettes are on board and the soap is included. So you can always, do a load or two of laundry to hold you over. And I love coming back with a suitcase full of clean clothes, which is fun. If you do want to go to the spa for a treatment, you're not going to have any pressure, sales pressure while you're getting your massage or facial. And access to the spa is free. One thing I really love is no inside stateroom. So we'll talk about the stateroom categories as we get further into the presentation, but no nickel and diming. That is the whole concept, just to give you a real sense of being in your destination and being able to relax and just enjoy.
Beverage
Talked a
pack.
little bit about how you
It
can
is?
learn things as you're traveling.
I don't
And the
know.
Viking guest lectures are great. We have historians as well as guest lecturers who will give you enrichment talks, have office hours, and you can connect with them on and off the ship. Destination performances is where they either bring local talent on board or we have some amazing performers on the staff. I think one of the cruise directors was actually an opera singer prior to joining the
Yeah.
ship staff. So we had
I
wonderful
was
opera review or Beatles or something like that. So it's a range of talent and something I think you'll enjoy as well. Now I'm going to turn my camera off so you can actually see the images here. We're talking today about Venice, the Adriatic, and Greece. And as you can see the map on the bottom right, we're going to see the white dot means overnight. And you can see our daily guide is overnight in Venice. Then we travel down the Adriatic coast, ending in Athens. But the black dot means there is not a tour of Athens. So if you haven't been to Athens, I would really recommend doing an extension. We'll talk about those later. There's another cruise. Here's a better map of this itinerary that we're talking about today. There is another cruise that I've been on, very similar, and it is 10 days, and it does overnight in Athens, but it doesn't overnight in Venice. It gives you an extra stop here in Slovenia, Zadar, and then ending
Oh,
up going to Santorini and overnight in Athens. That's the white dot there. So, really encourage you to look at both of these itineraries, figure out which one has the best availability and dates of preferred travel for you. But I think you'll really enjoy either one. But of course, if you can do 10 days instead of 8, that's always going to be great. Now, Venice, on the Venice, the Adriatic, and Greece, the 8-day option, you will overnight here in Venice. So if you've not spent time in Venice, I encourage you to spend extra days because we did do our trip where we had the time in Venice. And one thing that you'll really want to keep in mind, and thank you, Julie, for mentioning this. If you are doing Venice, the Adriatic, and Greece, you will have a shuttle that will take you into town. You do have a bit of a distance there. It's a little over an hour. So
Oh,
ever since, I don't know, probably 2 years ago, the port authorities do not allow any ocean ships to actually dock in the Venice port like we were able to do pre-COVID. So we dock either
gotcha.
Fusina or Troiga, even Trieste is one. And these are a bit of a distance from Venice. So even if you do have an overnight in Venice, just remember you're going to have the transfers time back and forth that is going to eat into the time that you get to see the city. So there's a lot to see here, as you can tell. I would really recommend an extended stay when we did it. There are actually two options that we have available. Well, there's more than that, but I've done the Ultimate Italy Tuscany, which is absolutely amazing, as well as the 2 nights in Venice, which is what we did last year. And I really was glad we took the extra time to see Venice because Viking puts you up in a hotel. You get your water taxis is going to take you back and forth to the St. Mark's Square area, which is going to be, of course, where all of the important artifacts are. I mean, important architectural gems are, for instance, St. Mark's Basilica, which is built in 1092 and said to have St. Mark's bones smuggled by Venetian merchants, I think back in 828. The Doge's Palace is another beautiful governmental building, which I would encourage you to do a tour of that. It is just amazing. Every room is
Right.
just
Yeah,
stunning.
look
There's
at
so
that.
much history here. And of
Oh,
course, being able to just walk around the square, the Rialto Bridge, you can actually take a elevator up to the top of the tower to get some great views. And you just need some time to be able to do that. While we were there, we did the Vaporetto, which is the water taxi. And that was a good experience just to kind of get a feel for how the locals get around. It's not very fast, but we were able to visit some of the islands like Murano and Burano. So there are some optional excursions with Viking where you can see these islands, but having extra time there allows you to see it at your own pace. So Murano is known for the incredible glass blowing. You can go see one with the Viking tour, but I think when we went to our hotel, I was like, tell me the most important blowing option. And um, they, I think that was just a really valuable thing to see. We went to one that was a little off the beaten path and enjoyed it so much. It was like 13 rooms of the most amazing Venetian glassware. I think I think it was 13 rooms, but it looked like something that would be in the Bellagio. It was just really, really amazing. So I'd encourage you to be able to do that if you can. I did get a little chat. Let me just see if everybody could just make sure they're muted. I'll make sure there's no background noise. So hopefully we got everybody there. But thanks for that reminder, and hopefully we caught that. So Burano's known for its lace thinking, these colorful houses here. You're going to see, my husband's like, do we need to see lace thinking? I'm like, yes, it's on the Viking itinerary. I want to see it. And it was so much fun. It is the most amazing artwork. Crafters, just you have people that have done this type of incredible handwork for centuries, and it's just amazing to see. So really do recommend that you all get a chance to spend some extra time in Venice if at all possible. If you haven't been there, even if you've been there, I've been to several of these ports multiple times, and it just gives you time to see something else. So I just think it's an amazing thing to have extra time where possible. So our next stop is going to be Split, and this is on the Adriatic coast, and this was the Roman Emperor Diocletian's retirement haven. So um, all the Del Webbers and Cresswind 55 plus retirement communities. This is what it looked like back in the fourth century. It is one of the oldest towns on the Adriatic. You can go underneath. There's an ethnographic museum which kind of talks about the history through the years of Split. There's an optional excursion to Satina Canyon, as you can see here. Limestone cliffs. I believe it takes you to a small fishing village where you can do some shopping, and then you do a boat tour through these natural cliffs. Always a popular option, and love seeing anything related to national parks, which is here. Another great and popular one is called the Kirka National Falls. I did this one on our trip last year. I will pause and say this one sells out quickly, so I was not on top of things to get the option to go on this itinerary prior to when the booking window opened. So once I got on board the ship, which is what I recommend you to do, is go, check in, go straight to guest services or the shore excursions desk and say, hey, I'd love to do Kirka National Park. Are there any openings? And they either will let you know, yes, there are, and put you on it, or put you on a wait list. I had both happen because I had two different cruise excursions I was looking for. Cleared one, got on one and cleared the wait list for this one. It is a great national park, a bit of a drive from the ship. So the drive, of course, on a motor coach is included. Seeing the falls with a guide as well, and then lunch is included at the end also. So it's a pretty good day of what's included in this excursion. I will say, if you have mobility issues, this is one to pause and think about, because there are about 150 steps to get to the bottom of the falls. Guess how many steps you have to go up to get back to the bus? So if you do have issues with stairs, might be something to consider, but it's so worth it. And there's not a rush. You do have time at the bottom of the falls to take pictures. They have some local vendors down there selling their jams and different crafts. So it's a really enjoyable day. And if you have beautiful weather like this, like we did, it is just really stunning. All the way walking up, there's just places to stop and take really beautiful pictures. Our next day is going to be Dubrovnik. What a beautiful town this is. Of course, really famous for its role as a scene for the making of Star Trek and Game of Thrones, I believe, Star Trek 8 it was. It is such a lovely city right there on the coast, very, very populated. So it is, can be very crowded in the summer. Yeah, Game of Thrones and Star Trek 8. But it is lovely. Just so much history here. The area that you're looking at right now is inside a walled city. You can walk on the top of the walls. Viking offers an excursion that you can pay for, an optional one. This is where you want to just, if you have if you're okay with cutting loose and doing it on your own, there's a city pass that you can do here. It's like 37 euros, I think. Maybe, I think that was about right. It will let you walk all the way around the walls if you want. It gives you access to certain museums. You just scan the QR code, which we did during our guided tour. And then once the tour was finished, you can go up to the top of the walls, and actually you can see them here. You can walk all the way around the walls. It does take some time. So we did the halfway walk. Then there is a Mariners Museum, I think right about here. It was included with our pass. There were others as well, but really enjoyed this beautiful, beautiful town. And this port is amazing, as well as the history. This picture here of the cable car, you can also do this. Viking offers it as an optional excursion. One of the things that's difficult is if you're always doing things with Viking, you can't move as fast because the group is, of course, taking a certain amount of time. But it is a wonderful way to stay buckled up and make sure you get back to the port on time. We crammed so much into our day here that we raced over. I think we exited the museum here, raced down, walked over a couple blocks. I think it's right about here. Sorry, the picture's not great quality. And then you could take this cable car for these incredible views. We zipped back down, had to walk all the way over here, like to where we were meeting the bus. I forget how it was. So we were a little cramped for time, but we fit a ton into our day in Dubrovnik. And I just really loved it. It was just a favorite city. I think you'll really enjoy it as well. There's a sick picture of the city walls. These are like, I think up to 88 feet high in some places, very thick. I don't remember how 20 feet thick or so. The stones are centuries old, so make sure you have really good shoes, especially if there's been rain. You don't want you to slip and fall, but you can just understand this was serious business guarding the city and protecting it from invaders, and this gives you a real sense of that as well as some beautiful views. So, love Dubrovnik, and it's such a popular city. I think you will as well. Now, one of the optional excursions that I do like to point out is, first of all, when you're looking at the excursions, whether it's on the main page or once your shore excursions open, you'll have this difficulty level as well as what's included. So I would always encourage you to check that. Having the sometimes moderate means, hey, it's a long day. There is going to be some walking, but you're in here. In this case, you're stopping for a meal. You have sightseeing. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Doesn't necessarily mean it is very rigorous. It might just be it's a long day and you're gone. So that'll give you an idea of whether it is a fit for you or not. However, you can always book the Viking excursions. You can cancel them up to 10 days before departure, or even once you're on the ship, as long as it's more than 3 days from the start of your excursion, you can cancel that and get your money refunded. So, a great way to kind of judge what's going to be best for you. But this flavors and traditions of old Croatia is very, very popular. Flavors of pretty much is a good tip. About any place that Viking does that, it's a lot of food and history and a really high quality experience. So I think you might enjoy that one if you're into flavors and tastings, which is that's what the focus is. Day five is Kotor. I loved this. As you can tell, I love them all. You will sail in. You're going to want to get up early this morning because you're going to have such a beautiful sail in along this bay. It wraps all through these mountains here, and it's probably a good hour of getting here to where you're going to dock right up there. It is a beautiful, tucked away little town. And you're going to get an included tour, and then you're going to have free time on your own. There are a lot of great excursions available on this day. What Doug and I did, though, is I think it was 15 euros. We climbed the old walls here, which is you can see right here. It's about, if I recall, 1,500 steps. It was like 15 euros to get the pass per person to go up here. No rush. Take your time. I think we have the full day here until I think around dinner time. The views from the top are really amazing. So I would just say do this if you aren't going to launch out into another excursion in Montenegro. It's just a beautiful, beautiful country. There's a little bit better picture of the wall that you climb up. It's not that treacherous, but it is, you know, it is an old wall. But every place you can stop, you can get some amazing views. We just went all the way to the top, and it was really incredible. Enjoyed that. Corfu is our first stop in Greece, and this is a beautiful town. I didn't know much about it before we were there, but it is, you will see these many, many yachts along the waters of Greece. This fortress we were able to climb. Again, we like climbing things. And I think we were seniors. I think it was like 7 euros or 3 euros or something like that. Has a chapel there, and you can walk all the way to the top and see some beautiful views. Walk through and see where the prisoners were held, etc. Always enjoy the extra things you get to see along the way. Unscripted is part of the fun. I love it that Viking gives you an included tour and then also gives you time to explore on your own. In actuality, we had booked a boat cruise for this day, but the high winds prevented us being able to do that. Viking took us on something else that was a lovely view from some mountain heights, and then we came back and still had time to actually visit Corfu Old Town, which is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. This is called the Liston Promenade, and it was established in 1807. At that point, it was only open for aristocrats whose name was in the Libro d'Oros, or the Golden Book. But of course, now you can freely walk. There's shops and restaurants here. There is a ton of shopping here in Corfu, from heroes on every place you turn around to lots of places to buy souvenirs. a really robust town with a lot of options of things to do and just a beautiful place to see different things. This is the Paleocastrista Monastery, which you can visit that, and it comes with old Corfu. It's right there on the water, and an enjoyable day. We had beautiful weather, walked and walked, and just enjoyed all the beautiful scenery in Corfu. Now we're going to Katakolon, which is our port to take us to Olympia. And Olympia is just a really beautiful, peaceful place where the Olympic Games were originally held. Now, one thing I will say about this peaceful little fishing village as it looks here, this is about as big as it is. So I would definitely encourage you to do an excursion here because there's a little small town with some shops. Got a wonderful linen shirt for my husband here, which he loves, but there's not a ton to do. So I would definitely go and do the included tour of the very first Olympic Games. It's very expansive. The ruins here are very impressive, and you'll just learn so much about the Olympic Games, which we have one set of mindset about the Olympics, and they took it so seriously back then. It was not a joke. And you know, women could not, if women were found here, they were actually executed. So it was very, very serious manner of. There's a museum here you'll get to see and learn a lot about it as well. We had just a fabulous guide. Same one we had on our 4-day extension, which she was just a treasure. So I everybody enjoyed this, even those with other guides. That we just were really lucky to have the guide we did. It's just such a peaceful setting, and I think something you'll really enjoy. It's a good chunk of the day. If you're going in the summertime, make sure you take extra water bottles. You know, Viking is going to give those as you get off the ship, but I would take two because it is, a lot of open air. Now, day 8 is Athens, and here on this itinerary, like I said, Venice, the Adriatic, and Greece, the 8th day, you will just be disembarking and going straight to the ship. If you're doing Empires of the Mediterranean, it's the reverse. You don't get the overnight in Venice, but you do get it overnight here. However, I would say even with the overnight, it is not enough time to see Venice. Your included tour, if you do it with Empires of the Mediterranean, is going to be a city tour, a panoramic city tour on motor coach, and then the you're going to get to see a historic museum. So not enough time. You're really going to want to have some extended time here. There's the Olympic Stadium that they've done some restoration for. This is the Plaka district. It is absolutely lovely. There is so much shopping and things you can do here. So what I would really suggest, this is one of those places where please extend your stay. You have flown all the way over there. Make sure you get to see it because you're going to come back and think, no, I didn't get to see that. I didn't have time there. Wish I was stretched between which option I could do. And of course, an extended extension will allow you to do that. The 2 nights is at least adequate. You'll get off the ship and you'll be taken to your hotel. You'll have that afternoon and the next full day to do some sightseeing on your own. But I really would recommend Classic Greece. This is one of those things that is just a powerhouse of extra things to do. And I think it's just really fabulous as far as all of the extra options that you have. So muted everybody. Hopefully there is better now. Let me know if we're still not muted. Classic Greece is just amazing. I will tell you why I took this. I would have probably opted for 2 nights, except I have one client that's done probably 15 cruises with Viking. She said Classic Greece was one of the best extensions she'd ever done, and she had done a lot of them. It was fabulous. You are going to see Mycenae, Epidaurus. You'll have another day where you visit Delphi, which is way up in the mountains. A lot of history and mystery and antiquities that you will be seeing here. Your guide will be with you the whole way on both of those days. You'll have one day that you'll have to yourself where you'll be able to either do an excursion on your own or as we did. There's so much to see within Athens that every place you turn around, you're like, you're going out to dinner, you're walking by antiquities. And it's just amazing. Not enough time to do it all. but it's just really going to give you some extended time to feel like you've been able to relax and enjoy Athens, and then go basically the Mycenae and Epidaurus are about an hour and a half to the west from Athens, and Delphi and the Oracle is an hour and a half or so north. Lunch will be included on both of those days. It's fully guided on your motor coach. So it's not places you could really get to on your own if you went in and just tried to navigate that. So I feel like it's a really good value, a lot of time to explore. And of course, the Acropolis will be included along with one of the really nice museums there. So just encourage you to consider that. And if that's not your jam, I would say absolutely do Ultimate Italy Tuscany or Venice for 2 nights. You cannot go wrong with either one of those. But Ultimate Italy Tuscany was another absolutely fabulous extension. We did San Gimignano, Siena, Florence, and we stayed in this 650-year-old villa that was just so charming. Only about 25 rooms there, so it does sell out. Not kidding, it is a very, very popular one, and there's not a lot of capacity. Anyway, this is one you can always click on these extensions to learn a little bit more about what's included. I feel like Viking does a really good job with those. So you could go in early on your own or later, but then that's an air deviation, or transfers to the ship are not included. So it's just nice. We've kind of come to the age where we just want somebody to take care of everything, and this is what I recommend. So this was a client's response, not the one I was talking about, but another one. She did this before I did, and she said, our pre-extension in Tuscany was a wonderful start to our trip and one of our favorite areas of Italy. We loved the villa we stayed in and every part of this extension. The villa, the hosts, our guide Francesca, the driver Valentina, included excursions, the food, absolutely everything was wonderful. We made many friendships with our fellow Viking travelers during this extension that we maintain to this day. So a couple other extensions, as you can see here, Como, the Italian lakes, or Lake Como in Verona. I'm going to compress this just because I know it started a little late and I want to respect your time. But if you've not used us before, we are your Viking experts. We are their second largest seller. You're never going to pay more for your trip. You're going to have our amazing team. I am so proud of each of these ladies that are on our team. They are people I love working with, and just you're in good hands with whomever you're talking with on our team. But we are really looking out for you because we've done these vacations. I make sure my team has been on these trips so that they can speak with authority. And also because we've got such volume with Viking, we're able to get some extras for you, such as bonus shipboard credit. We always make sure that our guests get all the amazing bonuses. And even if you've booked in the last 60 days, we could still take care and add those extras for you, really to enhance your trip and, of course, help you enjoy Viking so much you want to come back again. So if you have traveled with Viking Oceans before, then you are welcome to drop off. No need to stay any longer, but I'm more than happy to keep going and just talk about the extras related to the ship and the stateroom. But I'm just going to take a quick look into our questions. And Viking should, if you overnight, Viking should have a shuttle from Fusina. Yes, Julie. I think everybody has been muted. Hopefully that's still the case. If you don't have an excursion in a port, are you allowed to go on your own and get your own bus back to the ship? It depends if the shuttle is there, but of course you have total freedom and to be able to come and go as you please. It's one thing I love about Viking is you can just actually navigate on your own however you choose to. So here's a quick look at what our Viking ships look like. They look like yachts. Everything is a veranda. No portholes. Nobody stays down here. These are all your staterooms. It's deck 3 through 8, 3, 4, 5, 6. These are the main levels. Then decks 7 and 8 are forward up here. And we can talk about the categories that are there. But it is just a really lovely ship. This is the main atrium where you'll have your entertainment, at least while you're waiting for dinner. I love the living room on either side. Allows you to just really have some time to just chat with new guests that you've met along the way. Listen to beautiful music at night. Explorer's Lounge is going to give you incredible views. That Bay of Kotor would be a great place to be there. Upper deck has a library and more space just to relax. And a lot of people just be napping there, reading or enjoying beautiful scenery early morning or in the afternoon when we're sailing out. Winter Garden is a place where we have the high tea service every day from around 3 to 5. It's also a place where sometimes we'll do some evening events. Outside of that is the main pool. This is a retractable roof, so regardless of what the weather is like, we've got beautiful uh, sunshine, or even if it's cloudy, you're able to have your heated pool, enjoy the swim there. The pool and bar grill is amazing. That's right over there to the left. And then at night, it can turn into an open air theater or performance area. Infinity Pool is here where you're able to feel like you're swimming in your destination. Lots of beautiful areas to relax, including the spa. Free access, as I mentioned, to the spa, but of course, if you want a massage or facial, you can do that. Sauna and cold plunge pool for both men and women's dressing rooms. The Snow Grotto is a popular area. The Norwegian way is to do heat and cold in order to stimulate the body circulation. There's the ice bucket challenge you can do as well. And then the restaurant, great views here. You never have to worry about being away from having an ocean view. So enjoy that beautiful scenery as you sail. This is Manfredi's, the Italian restaurant. And this requires reservations, but no charge for it. And it's great Italian beefsteak. I think they marinate it for like 72 hours. Chef's Table is another reservation only restaurant. But what I usually say is get on board, and especially when it first opens, there are people that perhaps haven't shown up for their allotted time, and you can certainly just see if there's space available or book in advance. Menu changes every 2 to 3 days, so if you like that wine pairing and tasting menu, that's something our guests enjoy. Mamsen's is a Norwegian deli named after the chairman's mother, who is right there, and he's being pulled there in the back. This is their china that they found pieces of it and had the pottery house actually recreate that. Very first ship, the Viking Star, when the ribbon was cut and the chairman was on board, this whole restaurant was a surprise, and he was very touched. So great Norwegian waffles, caramelized goat cheese, berries, desserts, and then, of course, open-faced sandwiches later on to enjoy throughout the day. They've got a really delicious split pea soup that is coming out as well. And so I think you would really enjoy that. Uh, Jumping in for a question right quick, Sally says, do you spend much time out on the water, or are you in port until evening? May depend on the itinerary. Yes, it does. Usually have a scenic sailing day on this itinerary, the Venice, the Adriatic, and Greece, or Empires of the Mediterranean. We were pretty much in port every day. However, sometimes we were sailing in the morning, like the Bay of Kotor, as I mentioned, or sailing out earlier in the evening, Zudar, whatever, maybe off, start sailing at, 4 something in the afternoon. So many times it just depends on the itinerary, and I think that is going to just depend. I think there was another question. Are there many differences with the new ships that are coming out? Slight differences. Most of them are sister ships all the way up until the last couple that have come out, the Vela, Mira, and there's one other, Vista, I think it is. Those are going to have more suites on board, same size. I think there is also some hydrogen power coming into those, so that is that's the main difference. From the Star up until the brand new ships, the Vela, Vista, and Mira, I can hardly tell the difference. Tapestry, maybe there's very slight changes. Unless you'd been on multiple ones, you wouldn't know the difference. You don't have to worry about, am I getting fewer amenities if I go on an older ship, for instance. Lots of places to eat outside. I love that about Viking. The Aquavit Terrace has, I love the World Cafe. Frankly, if you want to go to a restaurant and take a couple hours to eat and you enjoy that, great. But the World Cafe has the same food as the restaurant, and you can come and go as you please. You don't have to worry about dressing up maybe a little nicer for the restaurants, though it's very casual and relaxed. Now, I'm going to quickly just talk about choosing the right stateroom. And this is something that I get questions on all the time. And this is an example of why. These 8 categories here, 8 stateroom blocks, are all the same square footage. So people wonder, what's the difference? Well, V1 and V2, that's the lowest category. I don't recommend this unless there's not anything else available. It's not that much difference in price to go up to a Flex Ferranta 6, depending on the length of the cruise. And this category here is going to give you some differences. You're going to get earlier access to board the ship on embarkation day, a few extras in your room, like a coffee maker and binoculars to use, and drinks replenished daily that are complimentary in your refrigerator. But the main thing is there are 272 staterooms in this category, and it all opens up to book your shore excursions at 3 p.m. Eastern Time on a specific day prior to the start of your cruise. Now, as you go up this category, penthouse veranda 1, 2, and 3, they get to book before deluxe veranda, and then junior suites get to book before penthouse veranda, etc. So I always say, if you want the first of everything, just book the owner suite. You have no problems getting what you want. But as you go down, it opens up a different period. So deluxe veranda is all one category B, strategic 3 p.m. Eastern on the day it opens up, and you have the same chance as a DV6 as you do as a DV1. So that's the differences there. But if you're looking for midship, you're going to want the deluxe veranda 2, 4, or 6. This is deck 3. This is deck 4. These two are deck 4, but these are forward and aft, etc. DV1 is there's only about 14 of those, and there are a couple different premium places behind the suites, I mean, in between the suites on the back of the ship or on deck 7 or 8, which is really a nice popular place to go. This is what they look like, veranda staterooms, even in the least expensive category. This is a great stateroom, 270 square feet. So if you're thinking of a French balcony on a river ship, that's 135. This is twice as big as the river ship French balcony. Beautiful balconies, lovely amenities in the staterooms, regardless of what category you have. Large size amenities, color coded, large print. You don't, your readers don't wonder if you're putting conditioner or lotion on your hair. I love it that every ship floor, every bathroom floor on Viking's fleet has heated floors. And if you happen to travel off season like I do a lot of times, that is really, really nice. Again, I said as you go up in the deluxe veranda category, there's a few extra things that you start getting priority booking of shore excursions, etc. Penthouse veranda is about 25% larger, and then you start getting additional things added. Minibar has alcohol added, and then you get pressing and shoe shine services, welcome bottle of champagne, a little bit bigger stateroom, but all of them have this lovely makeup mirror, which I like. Penthouse Junior Suite is 405 square feet, and so now you not only have everything the other categories have, you also have laundry and dry cleaning, as well as a bigger room. You also have a divider here. So if you like, I have guests that, one will come on, he's still working, he closes it off so he can be working in the evening while his wife sleeps or watches TV or whatever. Just extra space, has that sofa in there as well. And then a few extras in the bathroom, double vanity sinks and a towel warmer, etc., a little bit larger. Then we have the Explorer Suites. There are about 14 Explorer Suites, and they all range in size. We can tell you certainly the differences between them. And of course, then you have everything the others have, but you also have larger space. You have the chaise lounges. These are either forward or aft on the ship. And then this is the category in the owner suite that has a bathtub. So just for fun, this is the owner suite. We do have clients that book this, but we do have to plan in advance because there's only one and it goes quickly. So you can see all the extras, including your own sauna that has an ocean view, your own personalized tea service, etc. Lots of extras. This is where the chairman stays. So it's a lovely, lovely room accommodation, and of course, a great way to celebrate, have a special cruise. Now, what I like to say is our motto is great vacations matter because great memories matter the most. I really feel like any Viking itinerary you do is going to be really special. I think they're a great cruise line, and I book a lot myself. I think we had a question about when the best time to book this itinerary is. There's going to be a mixed answer to that. May and September are going to be probably the most popular and the most expensive. You can fudge that a little bit by going April or October. I've done several, I did one in summer. It is hot. And of course, it's popular and there's a lot of crowds. I also did one, I've done a couple other ones that were in like the winter, the quiet season as they call it. And that was amazing. You do have to take layers and, hat or scarf and put them in your backpack if it's nicer weather in the afternoon. But I really enjoyed that because the crowds are less. The sale, as in the pricing, is so much better. And it's you really get a chance to explore because you have more time because you're not going in so many crowds. You can get around more quickly. So if you are a little tougher and can do like, either the quiet season up through March, a lot of value for the money, both price wise and being able to see more things because there's fewer people to navigate around. So that's one of my favorites. But so many great itineraries. I've done 4 with Viking in the Mediterranean, and I could do so many more. I almost booked another one, and I was like, "Ah, yeah, but I need to get up to some other areas that Viking sails to." So happy to answer any questions. Of course, you have my contact information, both email and phone, and we're happy to answer questions for you. But is there anything else? If anyone has a question now, I can just have you guys unmute. And if not, then um, happy to let you go, and then we can, of course, follow up later. Any questions before we close out? Well,
Thanks,
I will let
Carol.
you go. I appreciate you all hanging in there, especially as we had those technology issues. So you know how to reach out to me if there's anything else I can answer. Happy to do so, and loved having you on this call today. Thank you so much. You take care. We will talk soon.
Thank you so much, Carol.